What if the spirit of a fallen soldier flew his plane home one last time? This isn't just a spooky thought. It's the beginning of one of World War II's most baffling and enduring mysteries. A story that blurs the lines between reality, legend, and the unexplained. Today, we're diving into the ghostly echoes of the P-40 Warhawk that seem to defy time and space. Our story begins in the heat of World War II, a time of chaos, courage, and countless stories lost to history. But some tales refuse to fade away. Among them are the mysterious sightings of a lone P-40 fighter plane, an aircraft that appeared when and where it shouldn't have, leaving a trail of questions that still haunt us today. Aviation enthusiasts and historians have been captivated for decades, with theories ranging from time travel to extraterrestrial intervention. But the most famous and well-documented account takes us to the skies over China. Picture this. American pilots are flying a routine mission when they spot something completely out of place. A single P-40 Warhawk limping through the air. This wasn't just any P-40. It was riddled with bullet holes, a ghost of a battle long past. Its landing gear was down, suggesting a desperate attempt to land. But what truly sent a chill down their spines were the markings. The plane bore the classic star and circle insignia of the U.S. Army Air Forces, but it was a design that hadn't been used since the attack on Pearl Harbor years earlier. The American pilots, flying their more advanced aircraft, closed in to get a better look. They were shocked by the extent of the damage. The plane was a wreck, barely holding together. Through the shattered canopy, they could see the pilot. He was slumped over the controls, his flight suit stained, and he appeared to be unresponsive. The pilots on the scene concluded he must have been incapacitated or perhaps already dead, a phantom at the controls of his own flying coffin. Then, the unthinkable happened. As the pilots watched, helpless, the ghostly pilot slowly raised his head. He turned to look at them and gave a final, haunting wave. Was it a plea for help? A final goodbye? Or something else entirely? Before they could process what they were seeing, the battered P-40 nosedived toward the ground. The pilots watched it crash into the rugged terrain below. But when they circled the crash site, they found nothing. No fireball, no smoke, no wreckage. The plane had simply vanished. An official search was launched, but it turned up empty. Extensive sweeps of the area revealed not a single piece of the plane, no trace of the pilot. It was as if the entire event had been a collective hallucination. How could a plane, especially one in such a state, just disappear? The story quickly became a legend among Allied forces in the China-Bermudia theater. The Ghost P-40 of the Pacific became a symbol of the war's many unexplained phenomena. The mystery deepened with every retelling. The official investigation hit dead end after dead end. There were no records of a P-40 with those markings being in that area. No pilot was reported missing under those circumstances. The entire incident was a paradox. Some investigators began to suspect it was a hoax, a tall tale spun by weary soldiers to cope with the stresses of war. But too many credible witnesses claimed to have seen it. Even radar operators reported tracking an unidentified aircraft matching the P-40's description, an aircraft with outdated markings, before it abruptly disappeared from their screens. This is where the theories really take flight. The most popular and romantic theory is that of a time slip. Could this have been a pilot from the early days of the war, perhaps from the legendary Flying Tigers who fought in China, or even a pilot from the Pearl Harbor attack itself? Did he somehow get thrown forward in time, only to reappear for one last, desperate flight home? The wave, in this version, becomes a poignant gesture from a man lost in time, seeing friendly faces for the first time in years. Another, more grounded theory suggests it was a clever survival tactic. Perhaps the pilot, shot down far from friendly lines, managed to patch up his plane just enough for one more flight. Knowing he wouldn't make it, he flew towards a known friendly patrol route to signal his location. The wave would have been to draw attention, and the subsequent crash, while real, might have been in such a remote and inaccessible location that the wreckage was simply never found. This would explain the pilot's presence, but not the vanishing act of the plane itself. Then there are the more out-there ideas. Was it an extraterrestrial craft disguised as a P-40? observing human conflict, or perhaps the pilot was transported to another dimension at the moment of impact. While fascinating, these theories lack any shred of evidence. Still, in the absence of a logical explanation, people are drawn to the fantastical. The story became a piece of folklore, a campfire tale for aviators. For decades, the story remained just that, a captivating mystery. The identity of the pilot and the fate of his plane were unsolved. The historical significance of this specific P-40, if it was real, was lost without the wreckage. It seemed destined to be a permanent enigma in the annals of aviation history. But then, in 2012, something remarkable happened that added a new, tantalizing layer to this story. A Polish oil company team, working deep in the Egyptian desert, stumbled upon a stunning discovery. There, resting on the sand, was a nearly perfectly preserved Curtiss P-40 Kitty Hawk, the British designation for the Warhawk. It was like a time capsule. The sun had bleached its paint, but its guns, instruments, and even its ammunition were still intact. This wasn't the ghost plane from China, but its story was just as dramatic. Investigations identified it as the plane of Flight Sergeant Dennis Kopian, a 24-year-old RAF pilot who went missing in June 1942 while ferrying the plane from one British base to another. Evidence at the site suggested he had survived the crash landing. He had taken the radio and a battery from the plane and attempted to walk out of the desert. Tragically, his remains have never been found. This discovery proved that a plane could in fact get lost in a remote location and remain undiscovered for over 70 years. It lent a sliver of credibility to the idea that the Chinese P-40's wreckage might still be out there, hidden in some forgotten valley. It showed us that even when a plane goes down, the story of its pilot might not end there. So, where does this leave us with the ghost P-40 of China? Was it a real event? A pilot lost in time? A clever but ultimately futile survival attempt? Or simply an elaborate wartime legend? The discovery in the desert doesn't solve the Chinese mystery, but it fuels our imagination. It reminds us that the world is vast, and its history is filled with gaps and secrets. The lack of wreckage is the key. Without it, we can't confirm the plane's serial number, its squadron, or the pilot's identity. We are left with the chilling witness accounts. A bullet-riddled plane with outdated markings, a ghostly pilot, a final wave, and then nothing. The story of the ghost P-40 remains one of World War II's most compelling unsolved mysteries, a perfect blend of fact, folklore, and the enduring spirit of the brave men who fought in the skies. It's a testament to how, in the crucible of war, legends are born and some stories are destined to fly forever. What do you think happened? Was it a time traveler, a ghost, or just a lost pilot? Let me know your theories down in the comments. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this mystery, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories like this, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, keep looking up.